right, welcome to Primos for Life, the wrestling podcast made for the fans, by the fans. Como siempre, yo soy Eddie, el niño vaque. We got Ariel, the Ecuadorian dream bisueta, and we are your self-proclaimed, undisputed co-host tag team champions of the world. And in tonight's episode, we sit down with the Kingpin himself, Angel Medina, for a raw and unfiltered conversation. We dive into the wild locker room stories, ECW memories, and the realities of a different era in wrestling. So, como siempre, sit back, grab a snack, and let's get it on. ¿Cómo estás, primo?
Man, I'm over here just living the dream, man. Living the dream, you know, just up watching wrestling, watching more wrestling, and watching wrestling on top of that. It was a grand week of stuff. So a whole bunch of great things. But other than that, life is good, you know, smooth sailing. A lot of times they say no news is good news, and for now, I'm gonna roll with that. How about you, man? How are you?
Como siempre, I'm super excited because we have a special episode today. Another special episode today. Man, we've been really
so many special
with
episodes.
a bunch of special episodes because
So many.
But this one's extra special. You know why, Primo? Because
why is that?
This one, we have a very special guest, right? We have an ECW original, right? We have a legend in the business. We have one half of the infamous tag team stable, the Baldies. Ladies and gentlemen, Primo, hold on to your hat, even though you're not wearing a hat.
I'm not wearing one. I don't even have any hair, but I'm holding on to my headphones.
Yeah, hold on to your headphones. Listeners, hold on to your earphones.
Hold them right here.
Because tonight we have Senor Angel Medina. Let's bring him in. Oh, there he is. There he is. How you doing, sir?
What's going on, fellas?
What's going on? How you doing? Welcome on in, Angel. Un placer tenerte aquí. Thank you very much for joining us, man. An absolute pleasure having you here.
Man, gracias for having me on, man.
We can't thank you enough. We can't thank you enough. Like, for everything that you've done for the business and everything that we're about to get into, and can't wait to have you shed, you know, some light on the front stage, the backstage, the ins, the outs, the intricacies. You know, it's always great to have a knowledgeable mind and someone who's been in this industry as long as you have. And that's not to try to make you sound old. That's to make you sound as a veteran as you are. But once again, thank you so much for coming in and spending some time with us. We truly, truly appreciate it.
No, I appreciate you guys having me on. Thank you.
Yeah. What we're really actually excited about is just, you know, talk about your journey, talk about your story. We're just like, you know, we had an amazing conversation with Steve Monster Mac, and I'm sure you're aware, you've seen the clips.
Oh, Monster Snacks.
Like oh, no, not Monster Snacks, no.
My man, Monster Snacks.
Oh, man.
He knows I give him crap. I give him much crap.
It's all love. It's all love, right? It's all love.
All love, yeah.
Did he ever tell you the story when I bit him on his chuleta on the side when we were wrestling one time? Because they hit Moff hit me in the back so hard with the chair that it fucking hurt, and I bit him because I needed something to bite on because it was like, oh man.
No, go for it. You know, we'll start off with that, and then we'll jump into questions.
We were just wrestling at the Elks Lodge, and it was just the Baldies versus Monster Mac and Moff, and we were just going at it, and you know, and he had me in a front face lock, and you know, hold my arm, and Moff just drilled it, just came with it with the chair. And then he hit me. I'm like, ay, toma. And I had so much of his meat in my mouth. I just took a bite because I needed something. I needed a bite plate because that shit hurt.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, motherfucker, you bit me. I was like, I needed something to bite on, bro. Your boy hit me too hard. Like taking a bullet out. You know?
I mean, that's how you start an interview. You know, that's how you start an interview right there. There's definitely going to be some history. So you see, it's good that it's all love. It's fantastic.
No, I love those guys, man. I just give them a lot of crap.
Well, I mean, that's like I said, family's family. You guys have been doing this probably for around the same amount of time, and you guys have seen each other come up a bunch of times in different promotions and things like that. So I would imagine it's got to be just no animosity, just guys working hard and wanted to take care of each other.
God damn, we know each other before like when everything was on fucking paper, you know, like the sheets, like the wrestling sheets, the stories and stuff.
The dirt sheets.
The dirt sheets, yeah. You know,
dirt sheets, yeah.
that's
That's
how
wow.
deep
Was
we
it,
know.
what
Man.
was the one? My buddy used to have those delivered to his house. He'd, like once a month, he'd get like, I forget what it was called, but he would pay to have the dirt sheets show up to his house. And I was like, oh man, this is fantastic.
Dude,
Wow.
before I was a huge mark, I used to, on the back of the wrestling magazine, there used to be like this like fantasy wrestling society gimmick where you can, you know, make pick your moves by 1 through 50 or 1 through 100, and you make your moves, you name your character and stuff. And
Oh wow.
you know, and I just, yeah, man, I was just mark. And then you had to mail it in, and then you get your results in the mail, you know, and they give you like a wrestling story of your character. Yeah, on the back of like Wrestling
cool.
Illustrated. My tag team was Pan Con Queso. Seriously, bro. POC. It was called POC, and nobody knew. They were like the tag team POC, Pan Con Queso, you
know. That's funny. Well, before Pan Con Queso ever, or this I guess maybe during the Pan Con Queso time, getting back to a time where you were younger and seeing this, this is a question that Eddie and I usually like to start all of our interviews off with any interviewees that we have, whether it's fans such as us or someone who's been in the industry such as yourself. Is there a particular moment, match, pinpoint a section in time, if you can, where you recall that wrestling was just something that you wanted to do, needed to do, and had to be a part of your life moving forward?
I can tell you off the gate, it was Clash of Champions 1988 Sting versus Lex Luger on TBS with fucking the guy from the Wonder Years, Eddie Haskell, and Missy Hyatt was on the ringside. Yeah, that was the first time I saw
from
wrestling.
The Wonder Years. Wait, the older brother from the Wonder Years? Because I know he's a wrestling guy.
Yeah, he was on the ringside with Eddie Haskell and Missy Hyatt. You know.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, you just and you remember that vividly too, right? Like,
dude, because my homie at school, I wasn't into wrestling really, and he was like, "Bro, you're not into wrestling, man." He gave me a magazine, and I forgot who was on the cover, and he goes, "Bro, you gotta watch TBS this weekend, man. Clash of Champions, bro. Sting versus Ric Flair for the title. It's gonna be awesome." And I'm like, you know what? I got nothing to do, so I fucking watched it, and then I just got hooked. You know, I wasn't into that WWF fantasy Doink and Phantasmo and, you know, the Turtles and stuff. Man, I wanted that really
the dumpster and
no, they had some whacker. They had some horrible. The Turtles. They had the Turtles, Max Moon, all that garbage.
Oh man,
you know,
Max Moon. Oh my god, I forgot about Max Moon.
And then as the years went on, the Merenguero, Hercules Castillo coming down, the Merenguero. Before the Boricuas, he's coming down to the ring. I said,
before the Boricuas, right? Savio Vega and all that. That's right.
It was disrespecting us, man.
Dang. I mean, I feel like that whole time frame was like the Boricuas, the Nation, then the DOA was like the biker gang. Like I was like, okay, we're separating a little too much here, guys.
Yeah, but the thing is that if they had the Nation, why did they make the Hispanics the comedy like the Boricuas? If that's the case, he could have made us like the Warriors, you know, like the characters from the Warriors, some stuff. You know, like what was the thing back in New York? The oh my god, now I forgot the name. The Boricua gang. Back in the 70s, they were like protesting a lot. I forgot the name anyway, but you know, we could have been some hardcore, but, you know, just like Undertaker and that group when he had the
BSK.
Yeah, man. You know, the group with the twins, and they were all motorcycle gang coming down on bikes. I forgot.
Yeah. That's was that DOA?
It was DOA, whatever.
Or something like that. But yeah, there's something like that.
Yeah, we're always comedy relief, bro. We're always comedy relief. You know?
Yeah.
Well, hopefully that changed. I mean, that needs to be changing. I mean, it has been changing because, I mean, especially with this WWE partnership with AAA is going to be, you know, fantastic. And, you know, all the card there looks amazing. And hopefully, you know, with us being, you know, present and forefront there, you know, a lot of these things will help. You know,
I hope,
hopefully wash away some of the nonsense. You know, I mean, fingers crossed. That's the idealistic view.
Yeah,
you know,
but then
the
problem is that the old thing was that back in the days, Vince will just take control of the company and just phase him out, and then he's the only one. You know, so that's what he did. That's what he did with ECW. He just got it, took control of it, and tried to destroy it and phase it out. But since it had such a legacy, he was not able to squash it. The dude's. I'm not saying he's a leech, but I'm just saying he'll just take a company and just grind it up, and then they're gone. So hopefully he's not doing. Well, he's not there, but you know what I mean. I hope WWE is not doing that to the other companies.
Hopefully, there's no lingering effects of that within the company still.
Yeah, for sure.
Is the hopeful thought right there.
Yeah, but I think, real quick before we jump into the next question, because this is a really good topic that we're talking about, being all Latinos and stuff. We were just talking about this in this previous episode. We feel like Damian Priest and Santana are really getting some momentum, especially him with TNA and now coming over to NXT. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if Santana, gets signed to WWE later on in the year. Like, I think that's a good start, right?
Yeah, man. I mean, like I said, it's a great opportunity for our people, and stuff. But if he starts coming to the ring with fucking like coquis on his fucking trunks and and a floral shirt,
yeah,
and a Guayabera,
Charlie, right?
With the Guayabera,
Charlie.
Oh yeah, Cha Charlie, like shit like that, or dressed like a Hibaro and shit.
Yeah.
It's our culture, but still, man,
But there's a way to present it and represent it in a manner that is not something that seems comical or anything like that, to pay it the respect that it deserves and is due.
Yeah, just like Daredevil, man, with the character, the Puerto Rican character, that was classic the way they did it, even though they killed him off, but it was still good that it represented the Puerto Rican culture, All
right, well, okay, Angel. So let's jump back into your journey and your story.
Yeah, for sure.
So now our next question, right? So the wrestling business, like, how did you break into it? And what ultimately led you to like ECW, right? Because that's really where,
like I said, after Clash of Champions, I really got hooked on it, and I really watched wrestling every day. I was watching, like, it was on ESPN, World Class, and I was watching, let me see, everything, Von Erichs and Eric Embry, and I was just really watching those classics. I mean, they weren't classics because they were kind of like a week later or something after the broadcasting, but I just got hooked, man. I just started watching all kinds of wrestling. Then one day I just got the itch, and when I was like 17, I was trying to find a school, and back in the days you had to mail out for that stuff, and I used to get like pamphlets from the Dungeon, the Hart family. I don't even know what the fuck I did with those. What's his name? Adrian Street had a school in Gulf Breeze, Florida. I got a pamphlet for that. The Monster Factory was too far. Because it was in Jersey. Remember, I'm a Latino with no car, and I was not going to take the train all the way to deep in Jersey, and then take all the way back to Queensbridge. I said, hell no. So I just figured it was a wrap. And then one day on Channel 5, Good Day New York had a segment about pro wrestling, and they were just there. Johnny was demonstrating at the world's famous Gleason's gym, and I'm like, holy shit, there's one in Brooklyn. So and then I went down there and spoke to Johnny, and he was like, "Hey kid, and this is one thing about Johnny that I love, he picked your payments. So it's the truth. He knew I was poor. He knew I was from the projects. He knows I was Puerto Rican, and he goes, "Oh, Angelo, $1,500. We'll put you on a payment plan. You pay me what you can until you finish your $1,500." Now, Kid USA, the guy who played the stunt double for Mickey Rourke in The Wrestler, he comes in with the blonde hair, carpenter, $5,000, half up front, 6 months. The rest needs to be. So he's like, yo, because he read him, he knew he knows what he knew I was broke, and he saw him. He's like $5,000, and
he knew he could get it from him.
Yeah,
he's like,
and he goes. And you know what he told me? He goes, Angelo. He always called me Angelo. I don't know why. He goes, Angelo, that guy keeps you in the ring practicing. His money keeps you rolling in that ring. So he helps you out. So take care of him. So we always took care of him.
Sure.
But there were some dudes we just beat the brakes off of and get them out the school. But anyway, so then, like I said, I got into Gleason's. And then the thing was that when I got there when I was 17, it was Mondo Clean, Bill DeMott, Big Vito, and they used to beat the shit out of all the new students. Guys, they felt that it was not going to make it because remember, my mindset was just I want to be a wrestler. I want to punch and stomp my foot, and they just beat the shit out of me, and really like hurt me. and Vito just like pummeled me, and I was a skinny kid, and I quit. And I went home, and it was like a year later, 2 years later, I went back. But the reason why I went back is this true story. It was on Wrestling Superstars. Vito was wrestling the Big Boss Man. He knows the story. And not me and Vito are cool, but, I saw him, and the Big Boss Man gave him the slam and pinned him. And I'm like, man, that motherfucker, he kicked me out. I quit. I'm going back. And then I went back and continue. And Johnny's like, oh, you start off where you left off, your payments, and then I got in the ring, and then Vito was trying to do the same thing, and I just didn't let him do it, and I just fought back.
Right.
Even though he still beat my ass, I just kept coming back. And then, so then after that, Devon, Devon was there. He just recently came back. He used to work at the post office. Don't mean to put him on blast, but everybody had a regular job. He lived in New Rochelle, and we used to ride the F train, and from Front Street. And Devon used to get off, I forgot what stop, to take the next train to go to New Rochelle. So we used to ride the train together all the time. So one day, Paul called Gleason's looking for a Black Dudley. And it wasn't Devon at first. He went out to Adrian Byrd. He was one of the guys who used to wrestle as the Village People. It was a tag team like the Village People back in the 90s. Ken Sweeney was in it. Adrian Byrd was the construction worker. So he goes, oh, Adrian, Paul Heyman called. He's looking for a black guy to be a Dudley and like something like that. And he's like, what company? ECW. And he's like, is that the one with all the blood and the chairs and the violence? And he's like, yeah, I think so. He goes, nah, Johnny, I'll pass on that. That's not my thing. So he's like, oh, okay. And then he called Devon. And I told Devon, I saw, he goes, I never knew that. I said, yeah, true story, because I was in the office when Johnny told him, and he quit. But then later he said he was going to call you. So anyway, Devon went to ECW, and months later, I'm in the ring with Java Shabibi. He was a manager, and we were just chopping it up in the ring. And I was just like, man, it was like a Monday or Tuesday. And I'm like, hey, Java, what's going on? As we're wrestling, we wait our turn to get in the ring. And what's going on, brother? Nothing, man. I've just been going down to Philly. Devon had me come down to Philly to train as a referee. He kept inviting me down, so I just keep going down to Philly, working out down there. Wow, man, that's cool. So when you going? He goes, I'm going again this Saturday. Well, all right, bet. So I let it be, and then it was a Thursday. We, because Gleason's used to be Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday. So I saw him on Thursday, and he was like, I said, man, it's almost time for you to head down to Philly, for your little wrestling thing. And he goes, man, I don't think I'll be able to go. And I said, why? He goes, my car broke down, and I don't have any transportation to get down there, so I'm probably not going to go. Oh, man, that's fucked up, bro. So I said, you know what? Hey, man, if it's cool with D, I could drive you down, but see if it's cool with him. So he called D, and D's like, yeah, man, tell Angel, bring his wrestling bag, and yeah, he could come down. And I went down there, and they were in the ring, all the wrestlers working out. It was Nova, Chatty, Tracy Smothers, Guido, it's just everybody, Danny Doring, all those motherfuckers were in the ring, and they were just working out. It was like a warm up. Tracy Smothers did like stretches and shit. So then he at a certain point, he's like, hey, kid, you, why don't you wrestle Guido and just give me 5 minutes. Let's see what you can do. And we just wrestle, boom, 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 hip toss, arm drag, backdrop, all that bullshit. After the match, hey, guys, we're about to let the fans in 10 minutes, so we need to clear the ring. So everybody got out the ring. I started heading to the back, and it was Sabu and Rob Van Dam talking to Paul about a match. I think they were talking about over a match. So Paul looked up and he goes, come here, I need to talk to you. So I walked over and he goes, hey, and he was like, he had shit on his head, but he was like, I like what I saw. Stick around. And I'm like, nice. What? And he goes, just stick around. We'll talk later. And then he went back to discussing what he was discussing. So I run to D, I always call him D, I don't know what, yo, D, fucking Paul said, he liked what he saw, and he just told me to stick around. What's that mean? And he goes, Angel, if Paul tells you to stick around, just stick around. Yeah, but D, I don't understand, because that's still green, and I'm like, D, I don't understand. What do you, Angel?
You're still learning.
He goes, trust me, just shut up, if he tells you to stick around, stick around. And I stuck around. And then it just one day turned to the next. And, you know, and I just got on ring crew. I got fired from my job. And then I called Devon and I said, D, I don't think I'll be able to come to the shows anymore because I don't have the finances because I lost my job. Give me a minute. Let me figure something out. And, couple like an hour, maybe less than that, calls me back. Hey, I talked to Tommy. You know, we'll take care of you. We'll put you on ring crew, you know, so you can come down to the shows. So, you know, so you have money in your pocket. So it's a bet. So, you know, D always I could never talk enough about D. He's the one that made my career. He's the one that always like, I never asked Devon anything because I hate asking. This is my Latin pride. I don't like asking for things. Devon's always calling me, hey man, there's an opportunity. What you think? You interested? Oh yeah, I'll do it. You know, so he's, you know, because I just don't like to use our friendship like that, but he always calls me and always tells me, hey, I got something for you. You know, you came in my head and I think this is a good opportunity. And, you know, so he always took care of me, man. D's class act.
Wow.
I know it's a long
That's
story,
amazing,
but
man.
No.
That's awesome, man.
Listen, we live for this kind of stuff, the information,
bro.
the informative stuff like that.
I know Monster Snacks story is a little more like, yeah, I came out with the Yokozuna driver and this girl took it in homage of me. Please.
Hey man, you know, just he's gotta sell. He's gotta sell.
I know, I love that dude. Just send him this part, man. He'll curse me out. Like, this motherfucker.
You'll be getting a text in a little while.
This puto, bro. This cabrón is always joking around.
No, but that's great because to get like, because here's the thing that Eddie and I also like to do is we like to make sure that we put a shine on things that a lot of people don't know. You know, a lot of people they, you know, I believe it was Monster who said it. He's like, you know, wrestling's not cool until you fall in love with wrestling.
Yeah,
and then then you're about it. He's like, so what Eddie and I are trying to do is to show people, yeah, you know, because for us it doesn't have to be that black and white. There can be a shade of gray where you kind of find a spot in the middle.
Yeah,
and I think stories like what you just said help people find that ground. You know, because it shows the true way that you guys will take care of one another, even though this is a business in which you are physically doing damage to each other. So, no, man, please feel free. Well, that was great. Well, we'll take any answer we can get, long-winded, short-winded, whatever it may be. But there is something I did want to touch on, going back to, because you said, you know, you got into the ring crew, or you know, you went down with D and got into the ring crew. So that was kind of, you know, your way of breaking in, but being, especially in the time that you did this, because now we're talking about late 80s, early 90s, you know, there being a Latino, being African American, being a minority was still, you know, you're still fighting to do things. So what challenges being a Latino, being, you know, a Hispanic wrestler did you, because I know you've been buried, or you've been, you know, something, or I mean, I would imagine. Is there any one that particularly sticks out as like extremely fucked up, or like what is like?
Wow.
Like, I mean, honestly,
no, I'll give you a good story. It's always,
if we're going here, I mean, because I know you faced some shit. Because let me start by saying that. Let me start by saying, because the easy question is, what have you faced, right? Which you can tell me any number of things. Motherfuckers leaving shit in your locker, this and that, whatever. Right. Yeah, So we do want to know some things, of course. But I mean, if you're inclined,
no, I'll tell you.
Figured,
I'll tell you a funny
one.
one.
One of the most fucked up things.
No, I'll tell you the most fucked up one, and it's with Johnny Rods. When I first wrestled, I was like, man, I got to come up with a character. So I used to come up, like, one was I had a wrestling mask. I got pictures of it, man. I was skinny, hairy chest, and I was calling myself Omega. And I had a yellow mask. I wanted to be a luchador. Johnny's like, okay, you know, it is what it is. Then all of a sudden, I changed into the Egyptian god Osiris, and I had vampire teeth and these contacts that made my eyes black. And I wanted to be like, oh, you know, this mysterious Egyptian pharaoh type of character. Johnny's like, so I wrestled that, and he was like, so Angelo, come here. I got a name for you. This is perfect. And I'm like, oh, yeah, okay. You know, he goes, the Spanish Angel. Big Sal was standing next to me. And I look up at him, and he goes, Johnny, that's great. And I look at Johnny and said, he goes, I'm going to name you the Spanish Angel after the French Angel. You know, he was ugly. He was rugged. I said, ain't that the motherfucker that's the motherfucker they used to make Shrek. That if you look the French Angel, that the guy was just Google him, bro. He's just this monster looking Shrek. He looked like Shrek, but just a French dude. And I'm looking at him, and he's like, and then we leave the office, and he's like, and I'm like, what the fuck, Sal? And he goes, oh, fuck it, it's tremendous. It's fucking great. But he's just saying that because it's fucking like he's just laughing because he knows it's just because Big Sal Graciano was known as Monster Matman. Johnny came up with that gimmick for him, and he hates that gimmick. You know what his gimmick was? He used to look like a mop. Not being, he had to wear this like a what's the gunny sack where you use like the guys in the snipers has to wear that gunny
the gunny suit,
gunny suit, yeah. It was a thing. He looked like a matted up, dog, with these dreadlocks, and it was the Monster Madman. So he knew that it was like Johnny comes up with these crazy ideas, and he's like, "This is great," So then anyway, so I go back to the office later, like the next day, Johnny, I don't really like the Spanish Angel. And then he's like, oh, let me think about it. So I leave the office, and the next day comes, the next time I come back, I got your gimmick, Angelo. I said, okay, he drew the shit. I'm surprised I didn't keep it. He drew the shit. It was the Spanish flamingo.
Oh, God.
Sal's still standing there like, that's even better. He was putting it over, and I was just like, and he's like, and he had the picture. It was like it was a flamingo with a thin mustache. I got the picture of the gimmick too, with a thin mustache, and a cigarette dangling from his beak, and a beret, and I'm just like, and I'm looking at Johnny, and he's like, yeah, that'd be perfect, and I'm like, no, I'll stick with the Spanish Angel. So then Johnny said, since he did the drawing, he goes, the beret, the cigarette, the thin mustache. So he made me wear riding crops with a riding crop on riding crop pants, right? Like the little stick for the horses under my arm. Mm-hmm. I had to thin out my mustache. I had to wear a beret. And I used to come in this, and I had to get a shirt, one of those medieval time shirts with the fucking it was red and blue, red and black with the big old puffy sleeves. Like I looked like one of those artists, those nice those French artists back in the days and shit.
Oh my gosh!
So I had to come to the ring, and the Spanish Angel from the Isles of Malta. That's what I was from the Isles of Malta, the Spanish Angel. Had to come to. I got pictures, bro. Me coming in dress, and I used to be like, oh. Damn. so then he just kept booking me as a Spanish Angel. And then, that's how I knew Homicide. That's how I knew Monster Mac. So they all knew me as a Spanish Angel. That's why if you talk to Homicide, they'd be like, oh, Spanish Angel. Because it's just stuck with him. I only let him get away with it, because they know me out the gate. But that was the most like, oh, really, Johnny? But Johnny used to come up for gimmicks for everybody, like some fucked up gimmicks. Like one time he came up with this black dude, Monkey Man Cheetah.
Oh my God.
And it was a black dude, and they used to carry him to the ring in a cage on these sticks. And he had the jungle outfit and bananas hanging from the cage. And he loved it.
Oh my God. I can't make my mouth above the floor. I can't make my mouth above the floor.
Yeah, it was a classic. And they were like, yo, we can't do that. After the show, a couple of the shows, they were like, yo, man, people complaining because they say it's kind of racist because they brought the black dude in the cage.
Kind of.
The black dude in the cage with bananas dangling from the bottom.
Oh, dude, yeah, the Monkey Man Cheetah.
Holy shit.
And then Nana was there, Nana was there as Prince Nana, but we used to call him Black Kishi because his tights used to go up his ass. So, like I said, I know everybody from the gate, man.
That's man. See, this is the stories. This is what we're looking for. Exactly. See, fun, great stuff, man.
Wow. Okay. So getting back on track to through your journey, right? So you were part of the infamous, tag team stable, the Baldies, right? So my question is, basically our question is like, how did that come together, and what was? Because you always hear like with tag teams, like the chemistry was good in the ring because they had to sell, but sometimes, you would bump heads in the back. So was the chemistry there, or was it just like, hey, we're just doing this as a job and it is what it is kind of situation? What was that like?
Well, I did send you the video. I just sent it to you on Instagram in regards to like that was the first interaction of the Baldies, not dressed as them, but it was in Michigan, I think. And Paul and Tommy pulled me and DeVito to the side and said, "Hey, I got this idea. You ever heard of the Fordham Baldies?" And we're like, "No." And he's like, "Yeah, there used to be a street gang in the Bronx. We want to do this like this faction of these bald-headed guys, and and we want you and DeVito." And Vito was there, but he just talked to us at the time, and it's gonna be a group of guys. So then it was just me, Vito, Rod Price, and of course PN News, at the time. But everybody was kind of interchangeable. He said, "You guys are the main guys. You guys are not interested." Everybody's just come and go because Rob Price left, and then all of a sudden Vito left, but he left because he went to WCW, and then because he was real tight with Vince Russo. And I knew Vince Russo again a long time ago when I first met him. We spoke about it, but he doesn't remember when he came to Gleason's. But yeah, I knew him from that time. So he went to WCW, and he always said, "You guys are the main core of the Baldies. Everybody else is interchangeable. Always remember that." So I got along with everybody. DeVito and Vito used to butt heads. DeVito and Grimes used to butt heads. I used to always crack jokes, and I used to always instigate shit. So like when Vito used to argue with DeVito, because Vito would be like, "Hey, I've been in WWF," because they were both not jobbers, but that's what they were. At the time, where they worked all the time. Yeah. And they worked together. So Vito was like, "Yeah, I've been in there for," like if Vito was there for 2 years prior to DeVito, if that's true, he will always hold that over Vito's head.
Right.
And then they're both Italian, so they just get in like, and then, I'm sitting there watching them arguing, and I'm like, "Damn, DeVito, you really gonna let him talk to you like that, man?"
You instigated?
Yeah, I'm like, that's some fucked up shit. Then when they're arguing and DeVito walks away, and I'm like, "Man, I never seen you shut up that quick, man." I guess he pulled your card, And he said, "Man, fuck him," and stuff like that. Hey, man, don't get mad at me that he shut you up. I'm just stating the facts that I'm watching it from the stands.
And just ribbing him perfectly.
Yeah,
like just being like, "Hey man, I'm going by what I see. And then, I'm just going by what I see."
And then he just couldn't stand Vic Grimes. I like Vic. He was just stupid. He was just when I say stupid, he was like innocent stupid. Like right. He didn't know any better.
Simple.
Yeah, he just didn't know any better. He did things that he just didn't know any better. So, but I didn't care. But DeVito used to just get in his ass all the time about stupid shit, and I used to be like, I used to just laugh, and then I used to, like I said, I just always played practical jokes, and I always joked around, Like I remember one time, oh yeah, this is a PG show, never mind.
You're good. Well,
okay.
No,
so there was one time me, we're in Florida,
you're good,
and we hooked up with these chicks, right? And it was these one was a drunk. I mean, she was just sloppy, bro, sloppy. So we're driving back, right? And she's in the front car. And one of the guys had to stop, and she's throwing up at the car. And then these raccoons came out the bushes and started eating up the vomit. So then we get to the hotel. So it's me, Vic Grimes, and 2 chicks, and the girl that puked. And he's making out with her. So I'm like,
not even like a.
Yeah. So then she goes to the bathroom, and I'm like, "Oh, you nasty." He goes, "What?" I said, "Man, she was throwing up all in the car, outside the car, and she didn't wash her mouth. There was no way she would wash her mouth. You just making out with her after she puked." So then she's in the bathroom, and she comes out and flushes, and then I'm instigating it again. And she comes out, and of course they get passionate, and I'm like, "Oh man, you nasty." He goes, "What? She was in the bathroom taking a dump. You didn't hit no running water. She didn't wash her hands. You all in there, all in that booty, just fresh berries, just." So he just so I used to just always just get him. And he's like, "I ain't sharing a room with Angel anymore," because he was always fucking. And he used to have these like Mark Henry muffins.
He's always judging me.
Yeah, yeah. He had these like his titties used to go to his back, like when X-Pac used to talk about Mark Henry, how you get your pecs to the back. So we used to call him mud flaps. And when he was having sex with women, he'd be like, "I say, Mudslide. Look at those meat curtains on the side of you. He didn't hate me. He just didn't want to be around me when things were going on.
Yeah. Because he's like, I can't shut him off. I can't turn him down. Like,
this is not a safe space.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly.
he needed a safe space, and and then then the New Jack thing happened, and then he got fired. So they didn't bring him back.
Well, actually, you're bringing me you're leading me exactly where I wanted to go. Because I did want to mention New Jack, because your feud with New Jack was, just
legendary
stuff of just
not really.
Yeah, no, I didn't, because sometimes people throw that word around, but I didn't want to act like I was trying to kiss your ass too much, but yeah, yes, you said it, so legendary words. That's awesome.
All you see is teeth, right? That's what
Wow.
I got my little dinner. I cursed them out because I paid $60 for this shit.
$60 for a Nana? $60 for Nana is cheap nowadays.
Yeah.
Anyway, going back to what I was saying.
Wow.
So what I was saying, so your view of New Jack, legendary. So what was it like in terms of working with him in such brutal matches and just aspects in terms of, because we've seen the Vice thing about New Jack and but beyond the Dark Side of the Ring or things like that, so you can kind of see the stories about who he is and things like that. But in terms of working those brutal matches with him, like and just having to go through that, what was that like? How was those conversations pre and post? And is one of those matches like a very standout moment to you in ECW?
Well, with New Jack, at the first time when, like I said to you before, I wanted to be a luchador. I knew how to drop kick, I knew how to arm drag, I knew all the wrestling things. But what made my career is hardcore matches. So when they say we're gonna be the Baldies, you do this thing with New Jack, and I'm like, fuck, New Jack, violence. I'll be honest, I was nervous. I was just like, man, I'm not a violent guy, to do all this crazy stuff. But, I sucked it up. I kept my mouth shut. But Jack was great, man. Like I said, I have nothing but love for Jack. I make friends with everybody. I never had any problems. He never hurt me. There was little mistakes here and there. Shit happens. But like I said, I never had a problem with Jack. He always took care of me. He was really nice to me, but he was one of those dudes, not towards me, just me observing. He'd be like if you would talk to them and go, man, like he said a joke and you said like, oh my God, man, you people are so fucking funny. And then like the next day he'll come out and go, yo, what did you mean by you people?
Right.
And he'd be like, yo, he'd go, no. Like Joe Pesci, bro. He'd be like, yo, no, explain it to me. Explain it. Yeah.
Like I'm haha funny or haha
funny
to you?
No, but the funny thing, he used to scare motherfuckers, because they'd be like, yo, dude, I didn't mean it that way. I just thought you were just like Ray Liotta, man. And I'd be like, but then I did it. He never approached me that way. We just had a good relationship, and stuff. And, he liked DeVito, never hurt DeVito. I mean, he broke DeVito's hand again because of the crutch. That was a match, but that was not intentional.
Right. That was one of the,
he loved DeVito. Yeah. And he, and I got along with him. He just couldn't stand Vic after that, New Danbury thing. But it was just Vic's stupid. And when I say stupidity, it's not stupid. The innocent, dumb. Oh, I did.
The simplicity.
Yeah, he was just one of those guys. But Jack was like, I remember one time we're in like North Carolina. My favorite story. We were in North Carolina. There was these kids that came down to try out, and they wanted them to, hey, work a match. Work the crowd, to work the match. So I'm sitting there in an empty arena on one side of the arena. Like, well, not far, but Jack was sitting like to my left on the other side of the rails. So we're close, but not close. So I'm just watching this kid wrestle, and he's just working it. And and he worked the audience, which was me and Jack and maybe a couple other dudes. And he's like, yeah. After he slammed a drop kick, yeah. And he goes, yeah, I'm the greatest. I'm number one. And then he turns to Jack, what are you looking at, boy? What are you looking at? Oh no. So I'm sitting there just looking, and then for whatever reason I look over to Jack, and Jack's like breaks the fourth wall, and he goes, and he did the Samuel Jackson, does Marcellus Wallace look like a bitch? And he just looked at me, but with this like fire in his eyes, and I just blew it off. So then we go to the back of the locker room. The kid sits next to me, and there was like a clothes rack behind me for jackets. It was already hanging some stuff on it from somebody. So I'm sitting there, the kid's just tying lacing his boots, and I'm just sitting there, just kicking it, getting ready to. And Jack just comes in, and just like my cousin Vinny just gives him that cross left hook. The guy's feet like he falls out of the chair, feet up in the into the clothes rack, and the Jack's just over him, boom, boom, just pounding it. And then here comes Balls Mahoney, stomp, stomp. Here comes Axel, stomp, stomp. And then I'm just like, and it's just everybody's just beating the shit out of him, and I'm just like, elbow.
No.
And then they just grab him and they just throw him out the back door like you get thrown out of a club out of the back, and they threw his bags out and Jack slams his gun. That motherfucker, you call me boy, and I'm just like, oh,
so that's what this is about.
That was what it's about. Jack was an entertaining dude, man.
I mean, it sounds like it. It sounds
it was
like
fun.
it. That
It's just fun stories, just fun memories and stuff. And I was always in the mix of things because I always used to stay like my hotel room. There was a lot of drugs, a lot of sex, and I'm a low key dude, man. I'm a down low man. When I do my shenanigans, it's on the down low. So I used to, if the boys used to stay on the second floor, I used to always say, hey, put me on the fourth floor, back of the building. So away from everybody, because
as far as I can.
Yeah, I didn't want that party coming to my room, but I used to get calls like, "Yo, dude, you got to come down."
Smart move, man.
Hey, man, you got to come downstairs and check this shit out. You got to look at this. And I got there's some stories, bro. And I used to walk through the room and be like, "Holy shit!" Thank God there was no camera. There was no camera phones. There was no. We would all. I'm saying we'd be in jail, but they would be like, TMC, some footage just came up of the
exactly. You guys would be splashed everywhere on the wrestling websites now. You'd be splashed.
Which I don't care. As years ago,
but it's like coming up in that age where it's like too young to have to, or too old to have to deal with that camera phone nonsense. We were still able to do the dirt that we did.
Oh hell yeah!
Not have it out there. So
wow, man, that is wild. Because I'm like saying, so ultimately, like, would you say that ECW at that point in time, the locker room and everything there, like, was it very like fraternity-esque, right? Because it seems like
we were family.
There was a lot of trials, a lot of things, and a lot of like, hey, only the boys know, or only the boys do, that kind of stuff, right? Because I feel like the locker rooms aren't like that now. Right? I bet you they're not like that.
The thing about ECW is, like, you're right, it was a fraternity and we were brothers. That's why I said when the situation with that kid in North Carolina, everybody jumped in and fought. When the situation with Francine with XPW in California happened and they disrespected Francine, the whole locker room emptied out. We were always, we got into fights with each other, but just like brothers, don't fuck with my brother. Just because we got into a fight doesn't mean you have liberties. So if we're in a bar and balls get into a fight, guess what? We just get in the mix and find out later why the fight broke out. But we never let our brothers, fight alone. So yeah, we were family, man. And like I said, to this day, like Kid Cash and Vito, DeVito, Danny Doring. Everybody, bro. Francine, I love Francine. Dawn Marie. Just all these. We were just family. I mean, there were certain people that I just didn't click with, like Tammy. I didn't give a fuck about her. She's skank. I didn't. She didn't have no respect for. Because and be honest, she was one of those white girls like with the nose up in the air. I'm Tammy. Who are you? Oh, you just a mid Carter, bitch. Fuck you. And she thinks your shit don't stink. Now she's on cell block B making fucking license plates, and shit, and stuff. And she, like I said, there were certain people but there was people that were not really, I just didn't think was part of that nucleus, like Jasmine St. Clair, I don't think she was part of our clique. Yeah, she was around, but she wasn't one of us, in my opinion.
Yeah. Well, she came in dating, was like Blue Meanie.
Yeah.
I believe she was with him and coming in as an adult star into, the wrestling locker room where you guys have forged all this brotherhood and friendships and all this thing over time, over bonding and blood in the ring and stuff. To have someone come in, you're not going to be as quick to gravitate to have that relationship with that person, I would imagine. I mean, at least from what I can see.
Yeah, I wasn't feeling her. You know, it was again, nothing against her. It's just she didn't click. You know?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So,
Well, I mean, I was gonna say, I mean, you know, being with ECW and knowing the boundaries that they pushed, because that's what ECW did.
Yeah.
Right. That's boundary pushing is what they were known for. But working in an environment like that, outside of the physical pain, what were some of the like a hard challenge, you know, that you had to, you know, like, is it psyching yourself up to go through this match because you know what's about to happen, or like what was being in an industry and in a federation that was willing to push the buttons, to go that mile to get you to tune in? What were some of the bigger challenges outside of the physical ones?
No, the only challenges I had, it is a true story. I didn't know I was kind of afraid of heights. And I'm not afraid of heights. I'm afraid of falling. There's a difference. I can, you know, I can stand on a ledge and look, but if you grab my leg, I'm like, oh, yeah. So this was funny. I told this story before, but it was a show. It was a house show, and they had those. It was the Danbury, Connecticut incident. It was the same setup, but it was only two tiers. And me and Jack went up on it, and he said, "Hey man, we're gonna go up there, and I'm gonna beat you up, and I'm gonna throw you off, and then Grimes and DeVito will catch you." So I was like, "Cool, no problem." Man, when I went up there, and the shit was shaking and just not sturdy, and then he hit me with a forearm in the back, boom, and dude, when I dropped to my knees, and I couldn't get up. I was holding onto his legs, and he's like, "Okay, I'm gonna throw you up, Jack. I can't do it." and he's laughing, bro. He's just cracking up, and I'm like, "Jack, I can't do it. I'm fucking frozen." Oh shit! I didn't know I was scared of heights. Oh my god! And he's like, and he just kept laughing. And he goes, "All right, bro, just cut me off and throw me off." And I gave him a nut shot, and literally I had to get up, like to throw him off. I literally had to like climb him like a ladder, and then I didn't even throw him. I was just like, and then I grabbed the rails, so he flies off. Pushed. But see, what gets me mad about the dark side of the ring is just that they just gave a one-sided story.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
And the story was that originally the story was I was supposed to go off that thing, because my idea was, I said, I can do it if you put a piece of plywood on that thing, because it's all open. If you slip, you're gonna go like cling cling, fall right through. But if you put a piece of plywood and it's sturdy, even if it wobbles, at least it's like a scaffold. At least I'm like,
right.
I got stability. So I said my idea was to put a piece of plywood there and then put the tables at like two this way facing, like if I'm looking at the camera facing this way, and then two like this. So when we fall through, it goes, you know, just break easily. Instead of having two tables like this, you're just going to make it collapse.
You're going to fall right through.
Yeah.
Right? This way, at least you break, and there's catching you somewhere.
Yeah.
Right.
So when the ring crew came back and said, "Hey man, we didn't have time to get the plywood to do the," you know, and dude, when I looked at him, like, then I'm not doing it. I'm not gonna fuck with it. And Vic Grimes was like, "I'll do it. I could do it." And I'm like, "All right, knock yourself out." Literally knock yourself out.
Legitimately. Oh,
so what happened is that. So the story is that Jack was going to come in, and we will just lay waste on everybody. And after the scaffold thing, everybody's laid out. So there's no winner. Everybody gets carried out. Mm-hmm. So when Vic did what he did and landed on Jack, he stood up. And like I said, you can watch the pay-per-view. He stood up and he pounds his head. He gives the fit like, ah. And we're, you know, me and DeVito are getting carried out by security. Jack's literally getting carried out. And so then when Vic went to the back, again, he told Chetty, because he wasn't clicking with everybody. And when he said, he goes to the back, "Oh, it was Jack's fault. He didn't want to go off. He was scared. So I had to pull him off. You know, he pulled me off. He was scared." And so then what the fuck they do? Hey Jack, fucking Vic Grimes is saying that you were scared to take the bump, and that's why you got hurt, because it was your fault. So then Jack, you know, got hot about it, and then he waited, and it was the Burt Flickinger Center in Buffalo, New York. We're in the locker room, and Vic Grimes is sitting right behind me in the locker. There was two lockers between us. And he was on the other side of me. And Jack came through, and I was like, "Yo, what up, Jack?" Didn't acknowledge me, just walked right by me, and he just looked for Vic. And all I heard was this galleta, bro. This it was like a thunderclap, live, bro. And the locker went like forward, like boom, 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 boom. And I'm like, what the fuck? And I stood up and I look around and he's in Vic's face, like, motherfucker, I'm gonna kill you, motherfucker. You're a dead man. I'm gonna gut you like a pig. I'm a fucking coward and all this bullshit. And I'm just like, ooh, ooh. So then when Paul found out, because Jack was going to knock him out with this guitar filled with like gimmicks. He was loading it up. He loaded up with a bowling pin. He put a cast iron in there. He put a brick in there. So he was going to jump off the top rope and hit him in the head with the motherfucker. So when Paul got wind of it, he said, hey, we're going to change the story. So when Jack's music hits, Vic, you powder and you leave. You just take off. And then Tommy and Jack will fight, again, and you can find the video. It's the footage you're sending me. Tommy and Jack is not that you see me get hit with the guitar, but the funny thing is that Jack, when I said, Jack, hey, things changed. He goes, what's up? He goes, you're not gonna hit Vic with the guitar. When your music hits, he's gonna powder. I'm taking the guitar shot. Man, he just fucking lost it. Went to Paul, just went ape shit. And
wow.
And then he comes back and just cursing and this is the funny part. This is, like I said, this is a true story. And he's just cursing and I'm like, I hear you, Jack, but and he just kept interrupting me because he was talking over me. He said, that motherfucker, I'm gonna kill him. He's a fucking dead man. Yeah, I hear you, Jack, but I swear to God, bro, when I see him, he's a dead man. No, I understand, Jack, but boy, and then I'm like, Jack, and he goes, what? I hear you, but can you do me a favor? Can you take all that shit out of the
Take the
guitar?
shit out of there. Take the shit out of there.
Because you're going to fuck me up. And he's like,
Yeah.
So he's like, no, I got you. But even though he took all that shit out, he taped the guitar with electrical tape, the silver electrical tape to reinforce it, to keep all that stuff inside. That when he hit me with the guitar, it was still solid. I mean, I was fine, but when he hit me, I'm like, oh man,
wait for it to break over.
Oh, dude, it was like a hat guitar, man. Because he just hit me like a little cowboy. I was laying on the floor like, damn, Jack, you just fucked me up. But yeah, and Jack bruised, bro. That motherfucker, like, I mean, I don't have to tell you, he waited. And, everything good, man, everything gravy. And then he did that scaffold match with Vic. He was gonna kill him. He told me. He told me after that. He said, "Dude, I was aiming for the." He said in the video he said something different, but he told me he was aiming for that ring post. That he wanted to impale him. He wanted him to be impaled on the ring post.
Oh man!
And I'm like, "Damn, Jack, really?" He goes, "Fuck yeah, I wanted that motherfucker dead."
Well, for anyone who doesn't know what we're talking about, you have to go back and check out the scaffolding match between New Jack and Vic Grimes.
You know the funny story about Vic now? Now he's on a motorcycle, like church motorcycle group. I'm not making fun of him, but he delivers like Toys for Tots and all that stuff, and he does a lot of like things for the church. And I said, yeah, well. After that shit, I'll be like, ay Dios, gracias Dios. Yeah, you saved me. I will serve you in every
the righteous path. The righteous path. I'm on it, sir. Please.
He's in Ghana, fucking serving the Lord and all that stuff. I mean, it's good for him, but it's just funny because of that situation. I'm assuming I'll be a pastor by now.
Yeah, should change this real fast.
Okay, so Angel, check it, right? So I have a question for you now, because based on all those crazy stories you just shared, right?
Awesome stories. Awesome.
Yeah, awesome.
They're awesome.
Don't get me wrong. I'm still
crazy awesome.
I'm still processing. But my question is, you've also wrestled across, plenty of promotions, right? Mm-hmm. And my question is, post ECW, right? Like, was the independence like a cakewalk compared to ECW, or was it like, did it truly prepare you for the indie scene once you transition in that way? You know what I mean?
It was just shows, man. It was just, I mean, it just kept me working and kept my craft. Just like anything, if you're a boxer and you're always boxing in the ring, you're always, taking exhibition fights, you're always going to step your game up, you're always going to be ready. So, yeah, I mean, the more you wrestle, the more you're going to stay, on point. So, yeah, I mean, it prepared me. But I remember Tommy said to me, when I got on Ring Crew, he goes, "This is when you start paying your dues." And I'm like, "Really, motherfucker? After like 7 years on the Indies, now you're telling me now I pay my dues? This is where it starts. So I got to start from zero, you know?" And he was like, "Yeah, that's what happened, you know." So,
Oh, well, I mean, so you've wrestled around different promotions and everything, like Eddie said, and you know all the independent scenes and everything like that. But after that, you've made an interesting shift in terms of employment that we read into law enforcement. So what inspired the career shift? Was it just kind of like, I got to give my body a rest, I can't do this? And in what ways do you think that wrestling kind of helped prepare you for the transition into that?
well, this is a big secret, but I'm going to tell you.
Ooh, he's looking around.
I needed a
Hang
job.
on, let me look around too.
I needed a job, bro. after September 11th happened, wrestling was not as in demand, and I needed to work. So I just so I took a job as a law enforcement because that was something that was just stable. That was something that I would have been a fireman. I would have been, you know, it's just something stable. So I did that, and wrestling didn't prepare me for that. I mean, I was tough as it is. I mean, nothing scared me, you know, because after you get going through chair shots after chair shots, I mean, nothing's just, you know. But don't get me wrong, I wasn't running into like I'm running towards bullets or something, but it just nothing fazed me, and it was a good job, man. It was just something, you know. WPD was a blessing, but it was just a lot of politics. You know, it's just like wrestling. Like you know, the job was great, but if you was not part of the system or did the good old boy system, you know, you can
only rise but so high.
Correct. And I was still like myself, and I was just like, man, don't talk to me that way. Who are you talking to? You know, I was like really in people's, not in their face, but I spoke my mind, and they didn't like me for that. And then you know, I just left after that.
No, you're not the one. Like that. Yeah, that's not me. Like,
yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, then, hopping back to the wrestling career, then, right? Was there ever like a match that was mostly like emotionally or physically demanding of you? Like, is there a match that stands out in your mind that really you at the end of it you were like, man, that really took a lot out of me? You know what I mean? Was there anything like that in ECW or in the Indies or anything like that?
No, I mean the Flaming Tables match. I mean, but that's because I got burned. But that's the
only because I took fire to my body.
That's the only thing. But you know what's funny? There's 3 stories that you might be interested in. It's just 3 stories that would, you know, it's like it's a Marvel comic what if, which is true.
Okay.
The first one was when I left IWA in Puerto Rico and I got that heat, you know, argument with Puerto Rico, and I came to Kansas. Tommy was looking for me because they wanted me to be the bodyguard for Hassan. For you know, they just did the Dark Side of the Ring. They was like they wanted him to have a bodyguard with Davari, and they wanted me to dress because I had the dark skin, you know, I had the beard and whatever turban gimmick. So they were looking for me. They couldn't find me. So when they couldn't find me, they scratched that. And of course, whatever happened with that, it went downhill. 3, the second one was LAX. I was supposed to be LAX with Homicide instead of Hernandez. But what transpired is because I had heat with Dutch. Savio Dutch was the booker and the booker at the shows, and since I had that huge argument with Dutch Mantel in Puerto Rico when I just cursed the shit out of him, and I just left the company, told them to go fuck themselves. So when I spoke to Devon, he was trying to get me in. Homicide, I want you in, I want you. It was between me and Hernandez. He goes, no, I want you. You know, like Hernandez was not there yet. It was focused on me. So then when Dutch was like, fuck him, I don't want him, we're not gonna take him, he could go fuck himself, all this bullshit, he's a piece of shit, whatever. So then Homicide's like, bro, I can't, there's nothing I can do, man. And Devon's like, there's nothing I can do. They just keep nixing it. And then Hernandez came into the picture. It's not like it was like either me or Hernandez, but he was not in that conversation at the time because he was not even in the mix until after I was like shit on. And then they were like, well, we got to find somebody else. And then they looked around and they found Hernandez. You know, so that's a funny what if thing because me and Hamza would be like, man, what if, man, you know, if that would have went through, you know, either I would have been like, facing the east, or hey, LAX, papi, all this stuff, all that crazy shit. So it's just funny how things happen. Nobody knows the behind the scenes, and when they find out the stories, they're like, "Oh my god, I never knew that." It's a Marvel comic what ifs, man.
That's crazy.
Wait, that was 2, right? What was number 3?
That was 2. Yeah, it was 3.
No, the third one was when ECW came back, and then I spoke to Tommy, and he was like, he's like, "Hey, man, I threw your name in the mix, but I'm just gonna be honest with you, they only pay $750." Wow. And they wanted you to dress suited and booted, bro, like the NBA, man, suited and booted. So I said, Tommy, I got a kid, a newborn. So you telling me $750 a week, plus I have to, they pay for my flight, but I got to pay for hotel, rental, and you want me to dress like Rico Suave, coming.
Right.
I said, $750 ain't gonna go that far. I said, man, I can't do it. I'm sorry, I mean, even though they didn't pick me to come, but I was already out the gate, like, no. Even DeVito was like, no, I can't do it.
Yeah. Once you crunch the numbers, it doesn't make sense.
Oh, there was nothing. I mean, see, yeah, that's the thing. In wrestling, some guys are like, I gotta do it, I love wrestling. Yeah, I love wrestling, bro. But I gotta eat, and I got a family to feed. And just because I'm on TV, that's the thing. You're on TV. Oh my God, he makes millions and stuff. And the funny thing is that even DeVito said, dude, the only reason they're having us there is to put over their talent. Because if you notice that after the Vampire Dude and CM Punk,
Kevin Thorne,
all those guys, the old ECW guys were putting them over. And then once they put them over to establish them, the people were getting phased out. Little by little.
The new ECW, the Kevin Thorne, what was it? Was it the Monty Brown?
Yeah, all that shit.
The kid, the dude who was doing the Lucha Underground, Matt Stryker, and D'Angelo Dinero, whatever. Yeah. That was a new one. Yeah, you got the old ECW had the job to them to get that new faction over. This is the new ECW. Yeah, the new reign of it.
And I don't ever didn't want to do that. Like Nana one time came to town. And nothing against Nana. He was just like, "Hey man, we're gonna be in Wichita. Why don't you bring your bag? And I could get you. I am not putting nobody over. Whatever legacy I have, whatever little bit I have left, I am not going to get squashed from Hook or the guy with Orange Cassidy or the little motherfucker who would be breaking his back. What's his name with
Darby Allin?
Darby Allin, because I'll beat the brakes. Like I said, I don't get. See, that's the thing. I don't care if I get in there. I'm like, I'll beat the brakes off you, and you can walk me out the door, but it'll be live on TV. But but I was like, nah, I'm not interested. Nah, why, man? There's some money in your pocket. I said, I don't need the money, bro. I'm not doing it.
About the money.
And he was helping me out, but he knew I was right. He knew he wasn't trying to get me to do that. He was just trying to help me out. And I'm like, nah, man, I don't see it. He thought it was to get me in. And I said, no, I'm all right. Unless they're going to give me some ridiculous contract of being an agent or be behind the scenes, I'll do it. But I'm not going to kiss ass, and I don't need it. I don't need them,
Well, yeah. I mean, that's see, you've garnered so much knowledge in your time over the years to make that decision because of where you are, who you are. You have a family, you have all these other things. The maturity level that has come is one that comes with, of course, growth in years in the industry, and kind of want to push. You're pushing me to where I want to go. To young people, to young wrestlers, if you're standing in front of a group of young people who had the desire that you had and wanted to do, and I mean, once again, very easy questions like, what would you say to them? But I mean, is there anything you would tell them more so to avoid? Is there something that you would be like, be on the lookout for this?
These kids
in the business, right?
No, these kids nowadays, man, the thing about this business is that it does evolve. And it's funny, when it was the Johnny Roz era, it evolved into my era. And the thing is that I'm not knocking those guys, but these guys, some of these people are just not wrestlers, I mean, we had to go through a lot of shit, to earn our spot. Now they're just cookie cutting, and I'm not knocking them, but it's the truth. Soccer players, volleyball players, lacrosse players, javelin throwers, with athletic gymnasts, and they may put them in the ring, and they take them to the school, and they show them all the moves and all. Everybody's learning the same thing, meaning. But when you learn from guys like Larry Sharp, Johnny Rods, Stu Hart, those are different styles of wrestling. And when you get, and then when you get in the ring and you're wrestling them, you have two different styles, and when you start moving, start doing things like, wow, I never saw that. But if we're mirroring each other, because we both learn the same thing, it's just a cookie cutter thing, and
no one gets better.
Nobody gets better.
No one improves.
But think about it like this: look at that girl. What's the girl who broke a leg in the ring?
Zoe Stark.
Okay, not knocking her, but she's just even said it on thing. Oh, because you didn't back up, and you didn't, you was not in position. Then why throw the kick if you knew she was not in position? I could see And from my eyes, like if I was like, man, okay, hey, look, you back up. When you get to the middle of that W, I'm going to hit you with the drop kick. If I know you're not in the middle of the W, I'm not going to shoot it, because that's the next spot. And that's the inexperience, because if that person's not doing what was planned, and I'm like, oh, she's taking too long, she's not hitting that spot, boom, I'll just hop over the rope, boom, shoot him off clotheslines. Body's like, yeah, man, get in the middle of the set, get in the and
run it again.
Let's run it again, put a spot. But she did just like, oh, she's not in position, I'm still gonna go for it. She did the Bruce Lee kick from Good Chinese Connection, one leg down, one leg up, and snap. And then I'm like, okay, yeah, but it's your fault. It's your fault too. Yeah. Because you shot it. Yeah. So these guys,
why take it? There's no need to shoot that. Like it's unnecessary. If you're gonna possibly injure yourself, somebody else, like you said, work the spot, get it to where you need to be, and then call for it.
Yeah, and that's the thing. These guys want, and again, I'm not shitting. It's just from my observation that these people just want to get their shit in. No, they're not thinking of like it takes two. I got to do my Hurricanrana. I got to do my Canadian Destroyer. I got to do this. I got to get it in. I got to get it in to put myself over. See, in ECW, we wanted to put us over. I wanted to make Danny look good. He wanted to make me look good. I cared what he thought. He cared what I thought. We worked together to make a story. And these guys don't want to do that. Again, from my observation watching TV, everybody...
Yeah, but it makes sense.
And like I said, if I was in AEW and I was wrestling Orange Cassidy or that Darby Allin dude, or like that kid, what's his name? He's Guevara, when he split Matt Hardy's face with the chair.
Sammy Guevara.
I would have I would have been busted open. Oh, it's on. Boom, 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 boom. I would light him up, because you throw in that chair, like, fuck you. You're not protecting him. You just threw it. And then he gets mad. I heard he was like, oh, dude. And then if you do that, it's on. It's a New Jack.
Now you don't care. Now you act like you don't care that you put me in harm's fucking. You put anybody in harm's fucking way.
Yeah,
like that. That's not cool, man.
And that's the Latino, like the Latino in us. You like, no, está bien.
It's cool. Get you back.
Yeah. No, I'm gonna tap you back.
Yeah. But we wait, just like New Jack waited on Grimes. We'll be like, no, it's good. We're good. You owe me one.
Yeah. And and to that point, is that why like receipts aren't really a thing anymore, right? I feel like wrestlers don't really do that anymore.
No, they don't. I don't see it no more. Like I told you, I would have been. And the funny thing, knowing about me, if I was wrestling you and you owe me a receipt, and you will never know when it's coming. Meaning, we'll wrestle. Let's say we wrestle next week, everything's smooth. The rest of the other week, gravy. Yeah, boo. We go to Europe, everything's gravy. Go to Philly, toma receipts.
Just wait. 6 weeks later, when they get comfortable, it's like I told you.
Yeah, you just wait till people are sleeping, and there's no such thing as receipts, man. I got receipts a lot from Rob Price because I deserved it, because I fucked up, and I heard him, and that's just how it is. It's just not the same. And again, it's not knocking. It's just a different era, different people. These guys are making millions of dollars, and and do they deserve it? I don't know.
Right.
Yeah. Well, now it kind of makes sense, because it's like everybody's doing like a super kick now too, right? If you think about it, I feel like that's like a normal move now.
Yeah.
And remember, it used to be such a powerful finisher for Shawn Michaels, and now I feel like everybody does a super kick now.
Everybody does a super kick. Everybody does a double super kick. It's just different, man. It's just they just want to get their shit in, man. Before it was a power driver that used to be a finisher. Now it's a Canadian Destroyer. Then
you see that a lot.
Then fucking what's his name? Oh my God, he was with he got his neck injured. Not really. What's his name? The rest of the Americano. What's his name?
The Grande Americano,
Chad
Gable.
Gable, yeah, that spot, man. Like, what the hell?
Got his face bashed the other day.
But he lucky he didn't tuck because he would have just broke
Yeah.
his neck. But see, it's just what's the next thing, man? You know, like we used to joke, well, I'll come in the ring and shoot you. You know, that's the next spot. Like,
if you're gonna keep playing, can you top this? Where's the top?
Yeah, man.
Like it's part of the job. It's like you do such a great job. What's your punishment? More work, because you do such a good job. So you do this great move. Well, people are going to want more now. What's the next move? So you're constantly trying to, and that's what these cats are doing, trying to evolve, trying to get that move in, and not realizing technical stuff. There's stuff you got to do to take care of each other. There's a lot of things in between here and there, and just being selfish to get that spot. And that brings me to a question that I want to ask, just kind of going off of what you just said. Do you feel that the hunger level in terms of the love for the sport isn't there with these new wrestlers as it was when you were coming out?
I think that people that's not with the love of the sport, because these javelin, like I said, lacrosse players, they didn't know anything about wrestling. They just see a big paycheck. You know, right. It's the truth, man. You look at that, with the LGF, those guys, they're just looking for the big paycheck. They're not doing it for the love of the sport. Dude, I hate talking like Johnny, meaning like, I remember, man, we had to fucking eat tuna fish out the can, eat raw potatoes, go to Waffle House.
Walk uphill to school both ways.
Yeah, man. We were budgeting our money and stuff. We used to stay at the Fairfield Hotel because it had the morning breakfast. And we used to...
the Continental.
Yeah, and we used to like get the breakfast, eat, and then take 2 more plates to the room to save for later. And then we used to work the angle with the desk clerk. Hey, can you open the pantry? Can you hook us up? And she used to open the pantry and just cereal and all that shit. We had to do that, man, to make that money last. These guys don't know struggling on the road, man. The stuff, bleeding, and then you got to tear down the ring after you lost a pint of blood, and you're like, groggy and shit. Nah, man.
Using the same screwdriver to break it down that you just got stabbed with.
Yeah, it's a different era, man. So yeah, I mean, these kids I don't see that they see it the way we see it. I mean, look at Sabu. I mean, the guy broke his body, and the guy's just a great guy, but his body all broken and stuff, and and I mean, it's just he put his life on the line for wrestling, and just
daily. Yeah, daily he did it, and he did it without remorse and without cost.
Shit, WWE should have been like, bro, listen, I'll pay for your funeral. We'll pay for that. We'll take care of the expenses.
Right. Easily.
Yeah, easily.
Drop in the bucket.
Yeah,
easily.
But they don't do that, man. You're only good as like I said. You're only good for the time you're at that time. After that, you're just nobody.
Yeah.
The funny thing, all my heroes. It's the truth. All my heroes, from Jake the Snake Roberts to Hercules Hernandez to guys Jimmy Snuka, guys that I was on the road on the indies, just broke, and just like lived for wrestling because that's what their livelihood was.
That's what it was.
But I learned from them, and I was just like, no. I'll save my money. I'm not gonna do no drugs.
Stack.
And I did that, and because I watched, and I'm like, bro, but you're Jimmy. And again, I'm not Jimmy. I love Jimmy, but I was just like, right. Where's all your money, bro?
Where's the money go?
Hernandez told me he was living before he died. When I was the Spanish Angel, we were talking. He said, "Oh yeah, I live in Florida. I live in the back of a gym."
Wow.
And I'm like, the back of a gym, and I'm like, God damn, it's just, this is Hercules Hernandez, man, power and glory,
Yeah, man, damn.
What happened?
That's crazy.
But they thought that money was just like, that money will always last. And I knew money was not gonna last, so I always save.
Well, it brings me, there was a quote once, Roddy Piper, who said, he was like, wrestling has a great intro plan, has a terrible exit plan.
Hell yeah.
He said, because what do you do when your body's been beaten and you've been bruised and your heads have been knocked and no one wants to hire you anymore? He's like, when you get in, it's the start. If you can do it, it's the sudden start.
Dude, you know what's funny?
When you come out,
when we were wrestling in New Orleans, this is a funny story. When we were wrestling in New Orleans, there was this dirty, dingy dude in the locker room, and I'm talking grimy, like homeless, and I'm like, and I was like, dude, who the fuck is that? You don't recognize him? I said, no, who is it? Sam Houston. just bummed out, bro.
Oh my God.
I didn't recognize him, you know.
Right.
And he was just, I mean, I know, yeah, because he's Jake's brother. They have that horror story. I know Rock and Robin, all that shit. Yeah, but it was just like that's Sam Houston, the guy dancing in the ring, you know, and stuff. Yeah, he goes, yeah, that's Sam Houston. DeVito caught him off the gate like this. I just was like, I didn't recognize the motherfucker. Yeah, it was in Baton Rouge that I like I said, DeVito just recognized him off the gate because I guess he recognized him from when he wrestled WWF and he knew him.
Right, right. Holy shit, man.
Wow, man. This is like
this has been eye-opening. Yeah, man. I gotta tell you something. So we're taking up way too much of your time, and we truly cannot thank you enough. I'm going to throw this out here before Eddie and I start to get to our final wrap-ups. I think we need to Eddie have a segment and just call it stories with Angel, and I think we just have Angel over and we just do like a 20-minute story and just kick it, and we release it weekly, and we just say story time with Angel, and we just bug out because this has been. Wow, what an interview. And honestly, Angel, in speaking to you, just speaking like we're talking to friends and we're just hanging in our basement, kicking it, just telling stories, man. Like you're the ride that you've taken, and it's always great to see too the maturity and the intelligence, you know, level of someone coming up and seeing it, like you said, starting to save your money, do things like that, because you've seen all those stories about, like you said, the wrestlers who don't pay attention and who don't save, and then next thing you know, they're unrecognizable in the locker room because they're so disheveled and so gone. And to sort of see both ends of that spectrum and to have you on the other side of it, man, what a great, powerful story, especially, you know, with the Latino light in there, man. Like I you know what? I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna start. That's what I'm doing. I'm standing up and clapping, ladies and gentlemen. That's what I just.
I got one more thing for you before we go, but you're like,
let's do it. Let's rock.
So you know, Chastity, right, from ECW. They used to be with Sandman. Remember, she went to WCW. You know, I was the one that got her fired, right?
Really?
Yeah. You know, let me give you the quick story. So one day I was at my friend's house, another wrestler called Damian Dragon, and I went to hang out with him. And before I left the house, he had a big old box of VHS tapes. And for you people out there, VHS used to be the square thing we used to put in the VCR. So he had a bunch of VHS tapes in a big old brown box. And I'm like, yo, what's this? And he's like, oh, that's my porn collection. I'm like, are you serious? He goes, yeah, that's all my pornos. So I'm like, can I borrow one? And he's like, yeah, sure, man, knock yourself out. You know, so I literally straight shoot, dug in there, dug deep, and just pulled one out. I was like, all right, man, I got this one. I'll holler at you later. So I went home. Next day, got my little TV tray, lotion, tissue, got the lighting going.
Mood lighting.
Got the moonlight, got the blankets, you know.
Put on some Teddy Pendergrass.
Got the one step stool to the right so I could prop my leg up, you know, get those angles. So
stretch the leg.
So I was watching the porno, and at the end of the porno, seriously, like maybe like 10 minutes to the end, I'm like, yo, that bitch looks familiar. Yo, that's fucking Chastity. Because, you know, women make themselves up and like more, you know, that makeup, like, and I'm like, holy shit. So I'll call Big Sal. Yo, Sal, man, I got this tape. I don't know, man. I really don't know, but I think it's Chastity. Bullshit. I'm serious, dude. You got to see this. He goes, bring it to the show. So we're wrestling in New Jersey at the Tabernacle. So we go to Rob Feinstein's table where he's selling all the VHS tapes and all the T-shirts, and he says, hey, we want to borrow your TV VCR thing. And fucking Sal puts Sal puts it in there. And and he watching, and he looks at me, he goes, it's her, it's fucking her. He tells Devon, Bubba, everybody. And they're like, what? And they fucking take the TV, put it in the middle of the ring, and they put it in there, and everybody's watching it. And I'm in the back. Like if everybody's surrounding the TV, I'm literally out, like in the back, like 4 feet away, like, oh shit, I fucked up. And Francine, like, she's there, and she looks at me, and she comes up to me and she goes, don't worry, hon. You got no heat. That's not your fault. That's her. That's on her. And so she walks away and picks up her phone and she calls Chastity. And it's just like in the Christmas story when she tells the mother that Rafi got beat because he cursed. She's like, hey, you know, there's a tape here called Live Bait. and you know, you're on it. What? All you hear is on the phone, her tripping. So anyway, WCW got wind of it, and in her contract, it was a morals clause.
Oh yeah, the morals
And
clause.
then she got fired. And then that's why if you look at the Dudleys, I forgot which pay-per-view it was, but Sign Guy has a sign that says live bait on it.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh shit.
Yeah. And she got fired, man. And then once in a while I used to see her and she used to give me this dirty look because she knows I was the one that fucking put her on blast. You know?
But I mean, not on purpose.
Not on purpose.
But it's not on purpose. But if you do
and she did the deed.
Dude,
she did the deed,
like,
knowing what she was doing.
But yeah, but like I said, but that see, there's a lot of stories I have that just things that just pop in my head that I get.
Story time. Primos for life. I'm telling you, we got it. We got it. We locked this down. We sell the shirts.
Angel.
We can make this work. I'm telling you, man. I think we got it.
Oh, it's just funny, man. Like I said, things happen, and like I said, behind the scenes, you never know the story behind it.
Well, Angel, I tell you the truth, man. I can't wait to do this again with you. If you'd be so kind as to come back at any point, please feel free to do so. Because I mean, these stories are fantastic, and they're just I'm living right now. Like I'm so amped right now.
I was telling Eddie about other stories behind the curtain. He's like, bro, what? Yeah. I didn't know that. I didn't know that.
We're doing this again if you have the time, Angel. You let us know when you can. But right for now, while we have a moment, please feel free to let our listeners know, you know, where they can follow you, where they can find you, where they can hashtag, like, anything like that, any of your socials, whatever you like. Please, the floor is yours, sir.
Well, like I said, you could always catch me, you know, on Facebook. I'm easily found, you know, Angel Medina, JR. You could also find me on Instagram, a.medina262. I'm there. I also got my own podcast, you know. Coño, I got CTE kicking in. What the hell name is my podcast? but no, I mean, yeah, I do have a podcast going, you know, and you know, damn it, I forgot the name. Coño, bro.
It's all right. Take your time.
Too much weed. Too much weed. I don't smoke weed. But but no, but like it's just, you know, but like I said, you know, it's just a great show. So from Cheap Heats Productions, you know, definitely check us out. You know, we always chopping it up and stuff. I even put that show TWA on blast on the last segment. And
nice.
Like I said, man, I'm around. Like I said, I still wrestle, but I just do it for that, not the extra money, just fun money. I don't need it. You know, I don't live off it. So you know, it'll help me buy my Nintendo Switch 2 that I don't really have to touch my real money, and I don't come out of pocket. You know,
that works. A couple bumps here and there. Next thing you know, new Switch. Great, fantastic. Let's go.
Oh yeah, I'm a huge mark for video games. You know, but
who isn't?
You know, but I appreciate you guys having me on. Sorry about the last show. I mean, I was at the airport. I knew something was going to happen when my flight was all jacked up. But I always like to keep the communications going to holler at everybody before. So you know, that's why I hit you up from the airport. You know,
no apology necessary, man. Stuff like that happens, and we appreciate you keeping us up to date and then being able and being so flexible with the reschedule, man. So you do not have to thank us. We thank you for taking enough of us and our time to let us know what was happening. So we appreciate that, man. We thank you wholeheartedly. And I'm going to stop blathering because I feel like I'm fanboying out right now.
Oh well, I appreciate you guys, man. And you know, and if you do send that text to Monster Snacks, you know, just tell him Angel said what's up. You know, he'll probably curse me out. You know, but I love him, man. Like I said, we have a lot of history together on the indies, and you know, like I said, these guys, all those guys, you know, they're family, man. Like I said, we started when we were in our 20s, and it's just funny how little by little, you know, our friends come and go. You know, Sabu passed away, certain people passed away, and the circle gets smaller and smaller, you know. Yeah. And DeVito's always like, we always joke around like, "You next, bitch, you next," you know, just to keep it lively. But it's just it's scary because, you know, like I said, I don't do anything. Like I said, I don't really drink. I don't do nothing. You know, I mean, my only vice was at the time was women. So, but that's the Latino shit. You know, I'm hungry, bro.
That's the vice. Yeah, that's
you know. But
I call that Tuesday. I don't call that a vice.
You know, yeah. But I just never had any other problems. But like I said, when the circle gets smaller and smaller, and your friends are going, like look at the Baldies, Axel, Balls, New Jack. It's just me. You know what I mean? Like it's like the tag teams that we fought are just gone, you know.
Yeah,
and then there's motherfuckers who fucking do drugs like crazy and don't die, you know.
They're still there,
Yeah,
just
like
plugging away, still doing drugs.
How the fuck this
Blowing
motherfucker
rails
still
right
breathing?
now.
You know. But again, I really appreciate you guys having me on. You know, if you ever guys want me back on, I'll be happy to come on and chop it up with you guys.
We would love to have you back on, brother.
You know, if you get Homicide on and you need an interpreter, I'll be happy to.
No. See, but we can't joke like that with them. Like you could, because you go back with him.
Well,
we can't
he knows I love fucking with him.
We definitely can't say that. Are you kidding me? We'd end up with, oh my gosh, fly on the wall, just splat. Like, no, man.
You know, or if you get Prince Nana on, you can get me on because that motherfucker, you know.
See, now these things must happen.
Oh yeah, man, Nana. Oh, you know what he told me? He's like, oh well, you have to call the marketing because we now have to go through. I said, bitch, are you serious? Once you don't ask them for me and say, yo, I'm gonna do this for Angel.
Yeah, we go back, right?
I'm always texting him like, you motherfucker, you I will fuck you up. You better tell these motherfuckers come on my podcast, you know. But I love Nana. I give him a lot of shit. But like I said, like every time he comes to town, you know. I mean, even though he got this action figure.
I was about to say, you got the bobblehead.
Did you ever see the prototype?
No, there's a prototype.
Oh,
is it even better?
no.
For those who can't see, he just held up Joe
Angel, stop.
The Prince Nana doll.
You're gonna get us canceled, bro. You're gonna get us canceled. You're not even a year in this, man. You're gonna get us canceled.
Ratings, bro. You got to get those ratings up. You know, you got to be the Latino Howard Stern, bro.
Oh my gosh! Oh my!
All right, bro. Don't worry, man. I'll just give you I'll give you the Lord, the little buddy.
Give you the buddy Christ.
The buddy Jesus.
The buddy Christ.
Yeah. I like that one,
dude. I got all my toys on I got my empty Ric Flair can.
We saw the Ric Flair can.
This is the only one I like though. This is that strawberry banana shit. But you know, but yeah, man, I got all my toys over here, man, you know. But again, man, I don't want to keep you, man. I appreciate you having me, man. You know, anytime you guys want me on, holla.
Angel,
for sure.
We appreciate you, man.
And it definitely seems like you're up to date with the product too, so we could always, you know, get that perspective too, man. That'd be great.
I try to, man. Sometimes I'm just like, this is garbage. I ain't watching this. You know, the only thing I've been watching is Tony Storm. I think that's funny. You know, but
yeah, she's, you know, pretty.
That gimmick's been great for a minute, so that's
but you know, like I said, AEW's all right, man. I mean, it is what it is. You know, if they give me a job, I'll take it. You know, but
hell yeah.
But they, you know, like I said, you don't say no to money, man, but it has to be lucrative. But
it's got to make sense and dollars.
Yeah, it's all about the money, man. I'm 53, man. I got to make as much money as possible. Yeah. But anyway, bro, like I said, I appreciate you guys having me on. You guys, you know, awesome. And like I said, if you guys ever need anything, don't hesitate. Like I said, hit me up on Facebook because Instagram, bro, I'm just Absolutely. Like, I always like, oh shit, got a message. I'm more chatty catty on. You got my number. You can shoot me a text.
I'm following you on Instagram, Facebook, all of it, man. You can see a bunch of stuff coming from ArrowVSweat.com.
Well, because like I said, you know, Facebook just boop. You know, exactly. And Instagram, I don't even know how. Nah. I didn't even turn on the notification. I just look and
27 stories later.
Yeah, like I see the little icon, like, oh shit, I got a message. You know,
I should check this.
But Angel, for real, this has been truly an honor. This has been fantastic. I mean. You know, don't get me wrong. All our guests have been fantastic, but you by far are the realest that we've had on this show, man.
You are the one, man.
These stories are wild,
and I'm telling you,
happy you got to hear some of them,
we'll hammer it out at story time with Uncle Angel.
When keeping it real goes wrong.
Keeping it real is going. This is going right. This is keeping it real. It's going so right that yes, we have to keep it going and realer.
For sure, bro.
Angelo.
Oh man.
Like I said, man, if you guys need anything, just holler, bro.
No, we will certainly. I mean, we, as you said, you know, the proud Latinos may not be asking, but we'll definitely be in touch to at least say what's up. And if you'd like to come back, please, we would love to have you back. We'll try and hammer another day out, and we can go from there.
Well, if your podcast blows up because I like that little logo, and you make T-shirts. I should get the first print of that T-shirt logo.
There you go. All right,
Yeah.
I'll add you to the list, man.
Done.
We're already doing
Yeah.
prototypes.
The first,
Where's the hat? You
the
see?
first one,
Okay, the first
Oh,
one coming out the box.
one.
Yeah.
First one coming out the box. First one coming out the box.
and then whatever you make, like 6X for Monster Snacks, then you could just give him one.
No, he looks like he's been hitting the gym. He's
No, he
losing weight.
is.
Come on,
He
man.
is.
I'm hiding.
He is. Just send him the clip. He'll curse me out, man. Just tell me what he says, because he's always fucking like, this Angel, fuck him. But all right, brother, you guys take care. You enjoy your day.
You take care, man. Thank you so
you,
much.
sir.
We can't thank you enough from the bottom of our hearts, brother. Thank you
Anytime,
kindly.
man.
Thank you. And not only thank you for being on here, thank you for everything that you've done for the representation of our people in the wrestling industry. Let me finish off by saying that. Because what you have done for us, exactly.
Do the
David
merenguero.
Shadway,
Do the merenguero, bro.
Because what you've done for the people, our people in this industry, man, you've opened doors and you've been one of the ones. So
I appreciate it.
Wholeheartedly, thank you. Because our story could not be told if it wasn't for people like you who kept it open for us to tell these stories. So we wholeheartedly and humbly thank you.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate you guys, man. You take care, man.
For sure.
You peace out. Stay strong, man. Wish you luck on your podcast, brother.
Thank you, man. You
Thank
too.
you, man.
You
We
too.
appreciate it.
We'll be following you, man. Thanks.
All right, man. Take care.
Take care, sir. Wow, Primo, that was ridiculous. That was amazing. I'm at a loss of words, brother.
I mean, it's, when we do these interviews, I feel like sometimes we're not sure what to expect because, we know the names, we've seen the clips, things like that. So to actually get the truth from people is so refreshing and so just real and down to earth. And I think it helps ingratiate our listeners with these interviewees, and ingratiating that. And of course, you and I just being so utterly thankful to our interviewees for everything they've done. I do want to take a second to wholeheartedly and humbly thank everyone who's taken some time and have given us, 45 minutes, 30 minutes, an hour and change, whatever of your time for interviews, King Mega,
Sure.
Nikki Primo, CJ Bambino, Steve Monster Mac, Chandler the Young Gun Hopkins, and then the most recent Kingpin Angel Medina. Like, if you don't know these names, that's not a surprise because, some of them aren't these major WWE talents that are, but we're talking about people who in this industry work hard, carry their weight, and do the damn thing. And they push forward so that more wrestlers can keep coming up and become prominent and keep this wrestling game that they love and that you and I love to watch going. So once again, I would like to thank, and I'm going to say them again because you guys took the time out to take on two young kids, two young kids in the podcasting game. In the podcasting game, we young. In the podcasting game, we're really young. But to give us just a moment of your time, because you guys didn't have to do that. So once again, Mega, CJ, Nikki, Chandler, Monster, Kingpin, you guys have been absolutely wonderful. We wholeheartedly thank you all for everything that you guys did for us. And once again, we couldn't do it without you guys. So we really, really appreciate that. You guys are absolutely fantastic.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. Couldn't have said it better myself, man. You really captured everything that we owe to all our guests, man, because they all were fantastic. Whether they're new in the game, 30 years in, 9 years in, regardless of the stories are the stories. And this is what we live for. This is what gets us excited about the show.
Exactly.
Because anybody could do a recap. Anybody could watch Monday Night Raw, SmackDown, AEW, whatever. But to hear stories, to hear dream matches, to hear, career highlights, things like that, those are the stories that we really want to hear and we want to share with the world. So we're definitely grateful for it. And, pero como siempre, Primo, you know what to do, brother, because I love you and this is fun and I'm glad that we're doing this together, man.
Yeah, man. No, I'm when you sent me and Alice that text a couple months back, who would have known we'd be sitting here doing this right now, right? But on that vein, I'll take the moment in time to once again thank all of our interviewees, especially, Kingpin Angel, who was just here with us, but everybody who's done it for us, friends, family, people who listen, people who share, people who like, people who come up to me at the bar, people, just people that you ran into in the show, friends that we're meeting along the way, things like that. Like, we can't do this without you. And we wholeheartedly thank you for the listens, the likes, the shares, everything that you can do, and if you have a moment and you have a friend who just even kind of likes wrestling, hey, listen to these guys for a few minutes. I think you might enjoy them, but we have to thank you humbly and wholeheartedly and tell you guys that without you, this doesn't work. So thank you for everything. We love you. We can't do it without you. We need you. So, please, if you can, just do what you can to help out the boys. And in that vein, we will see you when we see you.
Yeah, man. We will see you when we see you.